only exist on the surface of our planet. This world has more secrets.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. They released a new Godzilla and Kong trailer video. The director, Adam Wingard, explained more details about the new Titans in the movie, Kong's Infinity Gauntlet that he's running around in during the trailers, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. And big reminder, as the trailers say, they've actually moved the release date of the movie up 2 weeks sooner to April, which means we all get to see it sooner, which is always good news. There's a bunch of brand new footage with Godzilla, who seems like he's inside the Roman Colosseum for some reason. I don't know if he's in the middle of a fight here. It's not really sure what's going on outside the Colosseum. You can see his tail curling outside around the base too. I've actually been there. I don't know if the scale quite works out here. Like, he might be standing behind the Colosseum because the MonsterVerse version of Godzilla is huge compared to the Toho version during Godzilla Minus One. Which is also a fantastic movie if you haven't seen it. Like, I didn't do a big video on Godzilla Minus One, but it is awesome. So if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. But it is a completely different vibe. Godzilla and Kong is more of like a giant action movie. Godzilla Minus One is more of like a traditional kind of Godzilla movie. There are a bunch more scenes inside the Hollow Earth, this central area inside Scar King's lair where he's ruling over Kong's captive race. There are a few more scenes of that new Shimo Titan. I believe this scene here where you see the Titan breaking through the ground is meant to be Shimo. And since the last trailer came out, we've actually learned that Shimo is being controlled by Scar King. He's supposed to be the only Titan who can control him. And Shimo is meant to be the most powerful Titan on the planet when the movie picks up, making Scar King technically the most powerful Titan on the planet because he's controlling the most powerful Titan. And together, Shimo and Scar King are meant to be like evil versions of Kong and Godzilla, so you kind of see where they're headed in this movie, like a 2-on-2 tag team match during the film. Not quite full Royal Rumble, but we're almost there. That would be like Godzilla Final Wars inside the MonsterVerse. Like the MonsterVerse version of Avengers Endgame, Godzilla Endgame. They have to leave some place for these movies to go. Like, they have to be able to escalate the movies as we go along. And apparently Shimo was a Titan that was supposed to be in the last movie, Godzilla vs. Kong, as one of the main antagonists, but I think they decided not to use him probably because they felt like Mechagodzilla, Godzilla, and Kong, the three of them together were all the main character Titans that the movie could handle narratively. And like I said, they wanted to be able to escalate things in the next movie, so it made more sense to have 4 main character Titans in this new movie. You could think of that as like Titan creep, like power escalation in anime. There's always a problem like that, like there always has to be another more powerful threat, but if you get too powerful, then it just becomes ridiculous. Speaking of getting more powerful, we see Godzilla go full pink in all the trailers. They haven't said exactly how this Godzilla form is meant to be more powerful than his other forms like classic atomic breath or his temporary thermonuclear pulses, but I think the pink energy is just meant to be another evolution of the character. Something meant to put him on par with Shimo's powers and abilities, who's supposed to be more powerful than him when the movie picks up, so naturally Godzilla needs some sort of power upgrade during the film. The director Adam Wingard also explained what's going on with Kong's Infinity Gauntlet, like perfectly balanced as all things should be. You have 2-on-2 tag team, one of them is getting a big power up. Godzilla in his pink form, Kong has to get his power up too. That's where his Infinity Gauntlet comes in. They said that it's actually meant to be Apex tech that Monarch took after the events of Godzilla vs. Kong. Like, Apex as a company collapsed after the events of that movie. Monarch absorbed most of their resources and technology. So the arm brace is meant to be based on tech they created for Mechagodzilla. So you can think of it as Kong getting a Godzilla-style upgrade. But even though he was Mechagodzilla, he was actually based on King Ghidorah, so it was sort of like a fusion of Godzilla ideas in King Ghidorah. They've alluded to this whole phenomenon in the other MonsterVerse movies, even on the Monarch series too, like the trickle-down effect of all this research into Titan biology and all the technology that they created based on it. The device seemed like it is more of an arm brace that he gets later in the movie because most of the trailer, he doesn't have it on his arm. My early theory right now, without more footage, is he just gets into an early fight with Scar King, who beats him and wounds his arm, creating the need for the brace.
gone for the head.
But it does look like they're breaking ground all across the Earth, coming out of the Hollow Earth. Like, you see Kong coming out here near the pyramids. You also see Godzilla over in Rome near the Colosseum. So it's like the battles take place all across the Earth, but because you're coming from the Hollow Earth, it's much easier for them to get around quickly. They've also revealed more details about Son of Kong, too, the Mini Kong as they call him in the trailer. He's technically not Kong's son, like he's not biologically related to Kong, I'm just calling him that for the video. But in the context of the movie, he's called Suko, which just translates to child, and the reddish-brown hair makes him seem like he came from a pair of apes that were being held captive by Scar King, and at some point his parents were killed. Orphaning him, and I think the trailers are implying that Kong is going to adopt him the way he kind of adopted Gia when she was orphaned on Skull Island. And by the end of the movie, Suko will just continue living with Kong. And it's not really clear, though, where the next movie is headed after this one. If Kong and Godzilla stay in the Hollow Earth, like they team up to kill Scar King and Shimo and free Kong's race, does that mean that Kong then is going to become the new ruler of the Hollow Earth, like he literally sat on the throne in the last movie? If that's true, I think Godzilla would probably just continue to reign supreme above, like he wouldn't stay on a throne literally next to Kong. Like, even though they're bros, they're probably just going to rule over their different domains, one above and one below, until it's time for another Avengers-level Titan team-up. You also have to remember that Monarch now has a station inside the Hollow Earth, so it sounds like they're going to be staying down there longer term too. One of the other biggest things in the trailer, though, is what looks like Gia's race of Titan worshippers. Like, she wears that special gown, approaches the pyramid, which seems similar to the structure Godzilla was living in during King of the Monsters. That place that had all the man-made depictions of their history worshipping the Titans. Part of the idea with Gia, I think, is she descends from that race, and a portion of them just started living above ground on Skull Island with Kong and his parents before they were killed by skull crawlers. Gia then gets orphaned and adopted by Kong, so Kong finding his race in the Hollow Earth sounds like it's meant to mirror Gia's story finding her race in the Hollow Earth too. Like, most of her people stayed down there and just continued to worship Titans. Dan Stevens is one of the brand new characters named Trapper, and he's just meant to be a tracker who helps Eileen Andrews and Bernie Hayes, who are both back from the last movie. You have to remember that Bernie Hayes, even though he's mostly used for comedy, is actually meant to be pretty intelligent, like he used to work at Apex. They seem like they help uncover what's really going on with Scar King, Shimo, maybe find some of their weaknesses, and use some of Monarch and Apex leftover technology to help Godzilla and Kong kill them. There are a couple other new secondary human characters in the movie too. They haven't revealed too much about them or about the rest of their storyline. I'm expecting another larger trailer around the Super Bowl sometime that will reveal more of the actual story in the movie, like how things actually progress. But it seems pretty clear from the early trailers, even though it's kind of cryptic, like Kong learns about the rest of his race that are being held captive there, then tries to free them unsuccessfully. Then Godzilla helps him, but they also run into Shimo, and at some point Scar King threatens to take over the surface world too, using Shimo and the other Titans. But because the movie's coming out in April, we should get a bunch more footage pretty soon. Post all your theories about the new Titans in the comments though. Let me know where you want them to take the next movie. Like, remember, they have to escalate things in each new movie. On the other side of things too, they're still finishing up the Monarch Godzilla TV series. There are a few episodes left as of me posting this video. They just revealed a couple new details about the Hollow Earth, some new Titan lore. I don't know that it's like this all over the Hollow Earth, but at least in the part where they visit in the TV series, something happens here to basically slow the flow of time or change the flow of time. They basically explained that Kurt Russell's military character who got stuck down there on the Hollow Earth for a little while stopped aging essentially for about 30 years. So when he came back, everybody else was 30 years older, but he looked the exact same. And he's meant to be about 100 years old in present day, even though biologically his body's only about 70 years old. They also just brought back another character from the past who got stuck down there for even longer, who also did not age. She still looks like she's in her 30s, even though she's meant to be the same age as Kurt Russell's character, who's supposed to almost be 100 years old. Even though Godzilla is a big part of that show, metaphorically and literally, they've introduced a bunch of new Titans during that, but because they typically save the really big stuff for the finale, we'll see what else they wind up revealing. Generally, I'm just expecting some huge reveal about the Hollow Earth and Titan lore just in general. Generally, the feeling, though, is that the writing for those human characters on the TV show is actually better than the writing for the human characters in the movies that they've had so far. So I know a lot of people are like, why don't they just put the TV show humans inside the movies now? That might be their plan long term, but we'll see. I think they plan on doing multiple seasons of the Monarch TV show, so I'm assuming that they'll stay on the TV show for now. But if you spotted any other Easter eggs or references in the new trailer that I didn't talk about in the video, just write it below in the comments, and I'll do another trailer video as soon as they release one. Ryan Reynolds also just dropped a brand new Deadpool 3 teaser trailer. You can click here for my video on that, and click here for that new Daredevil Born Again teaser in the Echo post-credits scene. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.